welcome our members and our guests. It's our second annual general meeting in person since COVID. We held our first meeting here last year. And it's also the 30th anniversary of our society that was formally registered as a nonprofit on August 31st, 1994, and as a charity in early 2000. We are very happy to have as our special guest, past President Joanne McCormick. Thank you for making the effort, Joanne. All right. Before starting our business section of the AGM, here are some housekeeping rules. The washroom is across the hall from the door in front of you, and the emergency exit is right behind you. So if there's no other questions so far, I'll move on with, I put up the agenda. Okay, the agenda. We have done the call to order. I'll do the president's reports next. The non-financial report and the financial report will follow with a motion to appoint an auditor that has to be its own motion. We have a board slate for 2024-25, and motion to approve all reports. That's what we do. We don't approve every one of them except the appointment for the auditor. And then we will have a little blurb about the 2024 motorcycle rally we're planning in the fall. And I will ask for a motion to adjourn. We'll break for about 10 minutes, and then we will do our anniversary celebration. So here we go with the president's report. I would like to start by thanking our members for their continuing support for Nova Scotia Lighthouses by renewing their memberships, making donations to specific initiatives, in some cases leaving our society a small bequest. Our printed 2023 map of 53 lighthouse sites proved so popular. Okay, I'm gonna break for a minute. I see Graham McBride coming in. Yes, I can see everybody pulling in. Graham's taking care of business first. He's renewing.
Want to sit up there?
That's right.
You want to sit up here, up front?
Would you like to sit beside Joanne, Graham?
Want to sit beside Joanne?
Sure.
Where's Joanne?
Right here.
Okay, come on, I'll take you down this way.
Okay.
I'm going to hold it to trip over anything. There you go, you sit over there with Joanne.
Okay.
Sorry, you push those forward when after Graham goes through. There you go.
Nice to see you. Nice to meet you.
Graham, we'll have time to chant later, Graham. Right now, we're right into the business portion of the AGM. No, it's okay. We're really pleased to see you. Thank you for making that effort to come out. I know it's not easy on a sunny day to come here.
Right.
Our printed 2023 map of 53 lighthouse sites proved so popular that we ran out of 8,000 copies by mid-August. In order to minimize paper waste, we asked tourist agents to display a copy on their desk or wall so that visitors would have to ask for one. This year, 54 lighthouses along with 7 replicas and lighthouse-related museums will be listed on our map. And I don't know who was here last year. This is the old 2023 map. We have the sites of the lighthouses around the coast of Nova Scotia. And on the back, we have the names with their address. People can look them up at Google Maps to get directions to get there. This year, we did some minor changes, and everybody who's gonna get a newsletter, probably it'll be out by mid-May. I'll put a 2024 map in it, so you'll have a copy. instead of delivering these maps to each visitor center and lighthouses open to the public, we've decided to bring all map packages to the local municipal offices for pickup. While it's great fun to meet new people and visit lighthouses, it was very time consuming as there isn't one opening date. So we were literally driving from mid-May into July delivering these. Our membership officer, Kathy, who's over there, called all who got maps in November to get the number of pads each one wants for this year. Reporting on our other major initiatives from 2023, interpretive signage for lighthouses. We got the interpretive sign for Margarettsville Lighthouse delivered in October. While this was later than we planned, the Friends of the Margarettsville Lighthouse did not landscape their grounds last summer due to nearby construction that had to be done first. Any of you have been up at Margarettsville, there was just a tiny cottage off to the side. Well, Buddy bought it and he turned it into a house, but thank God he put a low profile on it. So it's not going to look like a high rise next to the Margarettsville Lighthouse. They will be installing the sign once the frost has left the ground this spring. Meanwhile, the Port Royal Lighthouse Association is working on the content of the interpretive sign that is to be installed next to Schaffner Point Lighthouse, that this group saved from demolition by neglect that led to much rotting of main supportive beams. We did not make much progress with an interpretive sign for Rip Irwin, a founding member of the Society, and Sambro Island, that was to be installed at Crystal Crescent Beach, where there is a good view of Sambro Island Lighthouse. As it turned out, this was a very good thing, as post-tropical storm Lee did much damage to the beach. Our sign at best would have been knocked over or gone out to sea. Our newest initiative is the Lighthouse Activity Book, and take this with a thing, we maybe will add to it as we go along, that is primarily aimed at children, but will please people of all ages. And I've got a copy here of which you will get one when you leave. And you can maybe do these with any grandkids or nephews or nieces. On the first page, there's a quiz about Nova Scotia lighthouses. On the back, there is our map, and we have put the lighthouses that open to the public in summer with a QR code to go to our website where you can see the opening hours of each of these lighthouses. Inside is the fun part. You have a coloring page of Sambro Island on one side, and on the other, a variety of activities. A maze, a word search, what else? Oh yes, dot to dot, thank you. And also, how many words can you make out of lighthouse? Well, I got started the other night. I'm over 150, but I'm sure there's more. And then we also have a QR code on the activity side of the sheet that points to our website. If you use your cell phone and take your camera and put it over the QR, so it'll open up and it will give you the solutions. I haven't added the words. I'm hoping that maybe it will generate some email traffic where people will say, well, I got these many words, how many did you get? So this is our initiative for this year. It's on I made it live at 2 p.m. this afternoon, obviously put it on a timer, as a PDF, and solutions to its activities are posted there too. Our intention is to approach public libraries and recreational centers with printed copies and ask them to incorporate the activity book into their children's summer programs. It is the belief of our board that if children are not exposed to lighthouses and develop an interest in them, there will be no one to carry on once older generations who saved their lighthouses are gone. And in other news from the past year, a new community group, Seal Island Lighthouse Preservation Society, was formed last summer with the aim to get the Seal Island Lighthouse fixed by the Department of Fisheries and Oceans so it can continue to be used as an aid to navigation. Right now, DFO, that's the short form for them, they plan to put up a modern aid to navigation. They don't want to waste any more time or money on the Seal Island Lighthouse. The lighthouse was assigned an old federal status recognized by the Federal Heritage Building Review Office, I'll get that, in 2009, which I find is pretty late from that office, seeing that our Heritage Light Protection Act came out the following year, but there you go. And supposedly DFO is responsible for keeping it ship shape instead of letting it fall down by neglect, as is happening now. But given its location, a 2-hour boat ride from Clark's Harbor, south of Barrington Passon, plus 2 years of COVID lockdowns, a Tory MP representing the area, higher priority issues in the federal eyes, such as inflation, gas tax, homelessness, it really doesn't look good for the Seal Island Lighthouse. However, communication has been initiated between DFO and this group, and we will have to see where it goes. In closing, I want to thank board members Joe, who had to bail out at the last minute, Matt, Sarah, who did withdraw from our board earlier this year due to medical issues, Howard, Jean, Kathy, Golas, and Shauna, who's not here, for volunteering their time and energy to work on society business. And that's my report. And I'll just mention quickly, Shauna, it's not so much she didn't want to be here, she lives up in Cape Breton. So it's a heck of a ride for her to come down and back every year for a 2-hour meeting. And no, I'm sorry, I don't do hybrid meetings. I haven't really seen too many nonprofits do them successfully. You really need all the right equipment, and this library just isn't set up for that. So the next item on our agenda were the 2023 AGM minutes submitted by Sarah Allman. These were sent out to our members by email, along with all the other reports. Did anyone notice any corrections or omissions from the last year's AGM minutes? Okay, moving along. We have our membership report submitted by our membership officer, Kathy McKenzie. Do you have anything you'd like to speak to, Kathy?
No, just wanna thank everybody for renewing and, you know, get the tax receipts out to you as soon as we can. And, thanks for supporting us.
I just want to point out that it doesn't look like a high number. When people, you know, were part of the society 20 years ago, we certainly had more than 69, but that number is holding. And we have 2 of our board directors, Howard Eaton and Goldness Karami, who are organizing a motorcycle rally in September in hopes of increasing our members, but there'll be more on that later. We are without a website editor, but we still managed to publish 2 issues, one in May of last year and the other in November of last year. What we've done is we've engaged the service of an editor from another nonprofit to produce our issues, and there'll soon be one going out mid-May. And I want to say she's very, very reasonably priced and does lovely work. And that's why I asked her if she'd be interested in doing it for us. If you have been following our Facebook page, you will have seen the Society's weekly posts on both existing and lost Nova Scotia lighthouses. I've been doing them, and I plan to do Coffin Island this week. Matt has been posting the same content to our Instagram account. One benefit of posting to social media is that you get comments and messages from readers who offer their own lighthouse photos and stories. In the last week, I got 2 offers of article for the future fall-winter issue. I said sure to both and was amazed to receive one on being a child at Low Point Lighthouse in Cape Breton after World War II within 15 minutes of my saying okay. Wow. So, geez, keep on coming. I love it. This is our website. As web editor, I realize there is much information that I need to add to the website, such as details on the lighthouses that we had, 3 lightships we had, However, much of my time has been spent on the Society's current 3 initiatives that I've explained in my president's report. Unfortunately, there's only 24 hours in the day and I have to eat and sleep some of them. So we're gonna move on to our financial report, and people will have received an income statement and balance sheet for the past fiscal year, which runs from April 1st, 2023 to March 31st, 2024. And you're going to speak to it, Matt?
Hello?
I didn't put it
Oh,
up.
okay. Sorry, yeah. Give me a second. Sorry, just recovering from illness, so not as prepared as I planned on being, so apologies for that. Yeah. Overall, we had a larger than usual negative net income for the year, but there's a good reason for that, because for the first time since before the pandemic, we actually had some activities we were investing in, so that's a good thing. We had total revenues, memberships, and donations was $35.16 for the year. And the highlights of the expenses, we put an interpretive sign. That was one at Margarettsville.
Yes.
Yes, yeah, we spent about just over $4,000 on getting the interpretive signage set up at Margarettsville, and another $5,000 on printing. Bulk of that was for the maps, which were hugely successful, and hopefully lead to more good things in the future as people can have these handy maps to show them where all the lighthouses are. We did some website upgrades for about $1,000. And we have some travel expenses for the first time in a couple of years since we can actually travel again. Yeah. Did some short trips around the province to check out the lighthouses and whatnot. Balance sheet, so we got some prepaid expenses where we prepaid, I believe it's our insurance for next year. And accrued liabilities are fees towards our annual review of our financial statements by the auditor. And yeah. Yeah, so the net income for the year was a loss of $9,772, but that's not a bad thing. As I said, we invested in a few programs that will benefit us going forward in the future. Our total assets and liabilities, the balance sheet is $33,506. Any questions about the financials?
I'll just add, I've been trying to get funding. However, the first thing you get told is, are you not virtual now? Well, we are. We're on the Tourism Nova Scotia's webpage. Our map is there. We have our own website with the map there. We have a link from Facebook to go there, but people like a map. Because as I tell them, fine, you want to be virtual, then put your money where your mouth is. I'm a little more diplomatic than that, but please fix the broadband from corner to corner, north and south, east and west of Nova Scotia. Do not say you have to be virtual when there's absolutely no internet reception. And as people have pointed out, not everybody is that comfortable using cell phones as a source of information yet. So I approached the province, who took about a third of our map copies last year. They found that people, especially stopping in Amherst, wanted that map, but province doesn't want to pay for it. I approached a COA, which is a federal department that promotes heritage, tourism, culture around Nova Scotia. And they said, well, you don't really fit a program this year. And I said, yes, I know, but it is a beautiful product. And then I showed them our lighthouse activity book. And the woman has 3 kids, and she said, oh, well, this is pretty good, she said. Let me go back to my supervisor and talk to them. I'm not hopeful, but it was better than when I got on and they had told me no, nothing. So I then got a third, and this was an unsolicited invitation from a marketing person who I believe is a professional fundraiser, who wanted to discuss with me these. And you know what, I don't do things at the last moment, cause he had a deadline, and I just said, talk to me again in January, when we have a little more time, we can decide whether this is a way for us to go, because I know Matt is very religious about protecting our charitable status as a
Yes,
nonprofit.
yeah.
So I wanna make sure that everything's above board, and I felt having a week to discuss this type of funding, and then him making an application because there's a deadline, no, it didn't work for me. And I didn't think it would've worked for Matt either. So anyways, we are trying, but it is very, very hard to, you know, move ahead with something that I think is useful, but it is on paper, and it's not green, and it's not virtual. End of story.
But it's fun.
It's fun, yeah. So, the next thing we need to do, and maybe you wanna explain the purpose of an auditor, Matt?
Yeah, so as, part of the, each year, part of our, year-end process, we have, an individual, review our financials and, sign off on them, make sure everything's, okay and on the up and up. And, the last couple of years, that has been an individual up in the valley called Sharon Hurdle, and I would like to make a motion to reappoint Sharon Hurdle as the auditor for the forthcoming, again, for the forthcoming fiscal year.
I'll second it.
Howard Eaton said. Is there anybody contrary minded? Okay, we'll pass it.
Okay, excellent.
Okay, thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
Before I move on to the board slate, I want to show what we will be giving Sarah Allen, who was our secretary, appreciation for the 6 years she was with us as our secretary. Unfortunately, she had to withdraw from our board due to a medical matter, and we wish her the best. And this little shows what we're going to give her. And she not only acted as our secretary, but as our ad hoc legal advisor, because she is a lawyer, and she was priceless when it came to setting up, what would you say, the language and the disclaimer. So guess what, if Google changes direction and sets you the other way, we have nothing to do with it, it's Google's thing. So you have to think of all these things when you're giving out a product like this. And Sarah was a big asset in helping us get it straight. And people in the know will know that this sketch, this watercolor copy, was done by Kathy Brown, one of our past presidents. And I was hoping Kathy would show today, but she said, it's going to be this meeting or I have knee surgery. So I don't blame her for choosing the knee surgery. So anyways, we'll be talking more about Kathy later. So I'm going to progress to the board slate, and we have returning myself as president, Joe Fleming as past president, Matt Burke as treasurer, Denise and Matt will do social media, Kathy McKenzie as membership, myself for website. We have Howard Eaton, John Daigle, Jonas Heramy for members at large. Now, we still have, I should say, I want to thank Shauna, who is based in Cape Breton. She's a university lecturer there at the University of Cape Breton, for accepting the position of secretary. Now, we still have the Lightkeeper editor position vacant, and according to society bylaws, we still have room for 7 more directors on the board. So if you're interested in joining, you have to be a paid-up member, you have to attend bi-monthly meetings that are held online via Zoom or MS Teams. You can speak up now, talk to one of the board directors afterwards, or if you get this urge mid-year, just email, as you'll see on our website, ask.us@nslps.com, and we'll get back to you at ASAP. So, I don't do the asking 3 times, because we sit down with people and we ask them what they see as their purpose for the Lighthouse Society. We find that it's a good way to do things. I've had people offer, and I had one recently. He was retired military. I thought, great. He was an engineer. I thought, great. But when we started talking about what we do, it really wasn't his thing. So we didn't waste his time, and he didn't sit around on our board for a year thinking, oh, cripes, this is boring type thing. So that's the way I've progressed with it. Right, so now I would like a motion to approve all the reports we've presented so far. So I need somebody to make a motion. Kathy McKenzie will make a motion. Could I have a seconder, please?
I'll second it.
Jean Daigle. Is there anybody contrary minded? No? Okay, now we're starting to come to the fun part, people. Fall 2024 motorcycle rally. Golness and Howard. Oh, they're looking at one another. Who
Okay,
is going to do it?
well, I came up with an idea that, and Gomez and I are both motorcycle riders, and we thought it might be fun to promote a gathering of people on motorcycles to tour a number of lighthouses. And when I looked, I'm in the valley, so I made it easy for me, but it's also easy for people from Halifax. If we start in the Hantsport area, there's a lighthouse there, and then progress up to Walton and Burncoat for just for an afternoon ride, and talk about the lighthouses and promote the society and see if we can generate some membership. I think it'll increase our profile a little bit, and it'll maybe expose us to a demographic that's not really in our radar right now. So we're looking probably early fall. And we'll maybe pick a date and an alternate date, and you and I will have to do that here very soon, and then we'll publicize it and get it out. There's a number of clubs and groups in Nova Scotia that are, motorcycle involved, so we'll see if we can get a good group of people out to do that for the day.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. Even if I don't ride a motorcycle, I plan to be, parking myself beside one of the lighthouses. We're lucky 2 of them are in park settings, and they have washrooms, which is really nice. Gift shops and people on site that will do the description of the lighthouse. But Horton Bluff, which I believe that has been decommissioned, I did get hold of DFO and asked them if we could go up and take a look at it, and they said, yeah, sure, it's Crown land, it's open to
Yeah.
anybody. So that's the one where I figure we're gonna have to be there to tell people about it. But there's no washrooms and no gift shop.
Just
And it-
kicks.
Howard, and if you think on doing it again next year, maybe in June, advertise it for the blessing of the bikes that just happened in Truro last weekend.
Yeah, it's just that this is a tough time of the year to ride because it's cold.
Yeah, I know.
And you might
No,
have-
but I mean, advertise it.
Yeah, oh
You know,
yeah,
if you plan on it next year,
Sure.
then advertise it at the blessing of the bikes, and then they'll know that they're having it in September.
Sure.
Just get them starting to
yeah,
advertise.
it's a good idea.
Okay, so we have one last motion, and that's a motion to adjourn. Will someone make that? Oh, Howard will. And we need a seconder. Okay, Goldness, Jeremy will. So that wraps up our business portion of the AGM. Before we move on to this afternoon's presentation, perhaps people would like a 10-minute break to get up and stretch. We have some 30th anniversary cookies there that are individually wrapped. You can either have it now or bring it at home. And we have water. And I know in the past, pre-COVID, we had lots of food, but people are a little bit more leery now about sharing open veggie plates and open fruit plates with other people. So this is the format post-COVID we've taken.
And
So,
we also have gluten-free too. Anybody wants gluten-free?
so we'll say it's 3 o'clock, we'll see at 3:10 we'll start again.
Okay.
And as I said, the washrooms are across the hall, and maybe time to sit up.